Today's sketching location is Twickenham, which depending on who you ask is either in or outside of London. But before we get sketching, we're making a small detour to Strawberry Hill House. We didn't really have time to sketch at Strawberry Hill House, so we ended up in Radnor Gardens, which is a really pretty park along the riverside.
This is the vibe. I want to be with that.
I want to have a boat. To be honest, when we sat on this bench with such a nice river view, I was kind of internally panicking because I really don't know how to paint sceneries and landscapes. Anything that's not really structural. I quite like painting and drawing buildings because I can see where things start and end a bit clearer, but with landscapes it all blurs into one big blob for me, so this was a bit of a challenge. Anyway, today I was sketching with a friend and we also got a few visitors while we were sketching. Hello! Riverside model. So I have to admit, I really hated this painting up until about the 6-minute mark of this video. I feel like it's very much in the ugly stage. I really didn't know how to draw the scene in front of me. I've never really tried to paint a lake before, so I was trying to mimic videos I've seen before where artists are painting oceans and lakes. They always leave these white gaps for the water ripples. So that's what I was trying to do here, not very successfully, but I was trying. It just kind of looked like a swamp and not like water at all, so I was feeling a bit stressed at this stage of the painting. And yeah, I do feel a bit self-conscious sometimes, especially when I feel not too confident with how the painting is looking. There were a lot of boats that were passing by, so I took a picture of one for reference because they were moving way too quickly for me to capture any of them in real time. I think one problem I have with watercolours is that I never know how to make it look finished with watercolour alone, so I always rely on pencils and pastels on top to, I guess, save the drawing. And I know some people don't like mixing watercolour with other medium, but I don't really know any other way to paint with it, to be honest. I've mentioned this in my previous videos, but whenever I'm a bit unsure of how to approach a painting, I usually just go in with blocking colours out, and then I can go in with the details with pencil once the page is a bit less blank and intimidating. I don't really know what happened to me, but this summer I finished an entire mini sketchbook and I'm halfway through a new one, which is kind of crazy because I've literally been struggling to finish sketchbooks for years before this, and suddenly it's like a curse has been lifted from me. And the curse, I guess, was just me being too harsh on myself, critical about myself, which I'm still working on, but I noticed it affected my creativity as well, because I'd be so focused on the outcome, whether it would be good or bad, that it would just put me off drawing anything. And I feel like putting such high expectations on something that is supposed to be enjoyable, that was my biggest art blocker. It was just my mental sort of expectations, and I don't know, I guess just ultimately not being kind to myself. Anyway, I wanted to talk a bit about the materials I use because some of you have been asking about it. So the pencil you just saw is my absolute favourite for sketching with watercolour. It's the Faber Castell Pitt Graphite Matte Pencil. It looks really good on top of watercolour because it's completely matte, so it doesn't have that weird shiny reflection that most pencils have. And then this blue pencil is Polychromos by Faber Castell as well. It's the only colour that I've ran out and had to repurchase, and I think it's smalt blue. It looks really nice layered on top of watercolour, and specifically for portraits on skin tones as well. I've had some questions about my urban sketching kit, and I think I'll make a separate video on that. The journal that I'm using I DIY'd myself. It's a leather cover in the traveler's journal style. And yeah, that's the finished painting, which I'm so glad I persevered because I really like how it turned out. When we got up to leave, I didn't realize this before, but on the bench there was this really cute quote, and it said, "We didn't realize we were making memories, we just knew that we were having fun." In the next video we'll be sketching at St Paul's Churchyard in London, and hopefully I'll see you there. So until next time, take care. Love you lots, bye.